Welcome to Your Brand Amplified, the podcast where we interview marketers, publicists, and brands to learn their stories, what makes them tick, and tips and tricks that make a difference. I am so thrilled today to have my new friend, Estie Starr of Strand Consulting and Better Business School here with us. Estie, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So we've connected several things, including being single moms, our varied careers in marketing and PR, and the kinds of communities that we like to serve today. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your journey because you've lived in different cities and states. You started out in marketing and PR, and you've done a few different things before you decided to start your businesses and your passion projects that you have going now.
Totally. I think I was born to do marketing and business. I started my first profitable business when I was 10 years old, actually. But this current life iteration that I'm in really started back in 2011. I was working as the CIO of a multinational nonprofit. Loved my boss, loved my job. I had flex time, which was so important to me then. I had 3 little kids at the time. I now have 5 less little kids, but I single parent. So, just adding things to the list of things to do. And I had this crazy dream. I would be sitting in cafes, again, 2011, right? So it's a minute ago. And I'd be sitting in these cafes and I'd overhear people talking. It's often women. You're like, oh my God, like you're so talented. You should sell your cupcakes for like $1 each. It'll be amazing. It'd be such a good business. You should try it. Like, oh my God, like people are still coming out of the 2008 recession. I knew I could help. I'd already been doing some coaching on the side while I was still full-time employed, which was insane, but I liked it. And I was like, I can help you. I can help you. And I had this dream of creating a consulting firm that would do everything for a small business that like a Deloitte McKinsey does for a Fortune 500 company. Because even then, and more so now, small business owners had to like pull a freelancer from here and one from there. And now you have these like, freelancers or agencies or Upwork and Fiverr. Like it didn't have the same marketplaces we have now because it's exploded, but it's still the same problem. You got a piece here and a piece there, and this one doesn't agree with that one. The sales guy says you should do this, but marketing says you should do this, and your financial person says you can't do that, and your lawyer says don't do any of it. So like how you get it all in one, and that was my dream. And then they hired this toxic middle manager at the nonprofit where I was working, and I quit, and I was terrified, but I couldn't manage. I couldn't take care of my family, and the drama with this guy was so bad that I remember once bedtime was sacred for us. Sacred, like no work, no phones. This is even before smartphones were really popular. Bedtime for me was sacred time, prayers with the kids. And after they'd hired this guy and things were just escalating, my phone rang during bedtime prayers with my kids, and I answered it. The fact that it rang was not unheard of. The fact that I answered it was like, just showed the level to which I'd become enmeshed in the drama. And it's my coworker with the latest thing that the new guy did and da-da-da. And, I go to the workplace gets like that. It takes over your whole life. And I remember my husband at the time came in and he's like, Estie, this is not who you are and it's not who you want to be. And he was right. It wasn't. I quit that night. I had no idea what I was going to do, but I was like, I can't. I'm done. Like this just took over my life to the point that it stepped on one of the things that I hold sacred.
Right.
And I didn't even realize. And I had this crazy dream. I'm going to make a full service consulting firm for small businesses. I was in my 20s. No idea what I was doing. I have a degree in business and marketing and I'm running businesses and I always had side hustles, but I knew what I was doing. I wanted to help people. And I was already a certified coach for a couple of years at that point. So I'd been like doing like little bits and pieces, but it was just another one of my side hustles. I've cut hair. I've done medical billing. I have a list of side hustles that I've done. I did at my job. I did database architecture. So I used to do that on the side for other companies. Like I had like a little side thing, but to build my own full-time thing, out of your mind, taking that kind of risk. I was the sole provider of my family. Wow. Max was still studying. So I went looking for a new job. Couldn't find one. Couldn't find anything that would give me the flexibility, the salary, and the intellectual stimulation. Best I could find was 2 out of 3. And I was like, no, I need all 3. And I started working for the Mobile Marketing Association, Multinational Trade Association, mobile marketing. I became a business broker. That was cute. Did not work for me. I need direct remuneration for my efforts. I love brokers. I've had a number of them as clients, less than most other industries because brokers, they just live for the thrill of the chase. That's what they love. They love the deal making and the chase. And they actually love the randomness of it. They could work, like some of my broker clients have told me, they could work for 6 months on a deal that doesn't go through and 3 days on one that was worth triple. I'm like, I hate that. I'm so glad that it's fun for you. But that is not fun for me. It's not my wiring. Not fun for me. Sold some business businesses. It was great. Had the same kind of experience. Could spend like 2 months trying to sell a business, doesn't go through, 3 days selling another one that sells for triple. Amazing. Not for me. And then I started to do my own little consulting thing. Started as a freelancer, partnering with other companies and agencies until we built up to a full service multinational consulting firm. Took about 7 years till we had clients and staff in 10 different time zones, all the way from LA Pacific through to Hong Kong. And we have 3 divisions. We had our full service consultancy. So anything you'd imagine that Deloitte McKinsey does for a Fortune 500 company, we did for small businesses and nonprofits, primarily business and marketing strategy, but also full implementation. So we had an agency arm that we opened. So websites and brandings and logos and social media. We built database systems, APIs, apps, everything. We did everything. And then 2019, we opened what is now the business school because the services weren't affordable to everyone I wanted to help. I want everyone to be able to live their business dream, professionalize it, make it profitable, do what you love, earn buckets of money, have time for your life and family. That's my dream. And I think everyone deserves that. There's no reason why not.
Yeah.
And having the ability to turn your own talents, thoughts, ideas into money at will, I can't imagine better financial security. Better financial stability, I can imagine. Security, I can't. Because financial stability is someone else taking the responsibility and handing you a paycheck. Mm-hmm. That's stable, but it's not secure. They mess up, you're done.
Right.
Financial security is I can turn anything into money. And I can turn anything into any amount of money if you give me enough time.
I believe you. I'm bought in completely.
Yeah. No, but to me, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's why I came to it after 2008, when I saw everyone post-recession scrambling, taking jobs that they hated or not being able to make ends meet or do the things that they wanted, support their families. That was the beginning of my genesis into it. I became a certified professional coach in 2009 before everyone and their dog walker was a coach. Right. So I've been doing this for close to 15 years.
Wow.
14 years now. I've clocked over 12,000 hours of one-on-one coaching at this point. Done a lot.
Kudos to you for having the presence of mind to know that you couldn't stay in a situation that was toxic. You had to get yourself out of there and to already have planted the seeds of what you wanted to do next. I think that's just brilliant. And it's really hard for people to do. I think many of us stay in positions where it's not the ideal situation. We're not able to perform our best because we don't feel valued at those companies, or we don't feel like we're in those toxic environments, right? Where you're not really sure people are trying to compete against you, if they're trying to support you. And it can be really hard. And I've had a couple of those situations that I've tried to hang in there. And one of them was actually at a nonprofit. And I did the same thing. I just ended up quitting in the middle of organizing 2 events because I was in charge of all development events, the special events. I could see the writing on the wall because my boss was toxic and she ended up getting fired later because she mismanaged.
Mine too. He lasted 2 years, by the way. I lasted 6.5. He lasted 2. He was gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
They brought him in, wrecked the place like a bull in a china shop. They were finally like, get out. Oh my gosh, you will love this. I can't make this up. So many of my life stories I cannot make up. So this guy who came in toxic, who took my team. Okay, I was the CIO. He took my team. He's like, you're my new secretary. I'm like, no, I'm the new leaving person. Bye. That was part of the toxicity, right? So the place had a low glass ceiling to begin with. This guy made it even lower. It's like, all women are secretaries. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. I'm really good at a lot of things. I'm not a great secretary. I don't really like coffee. And I'm not that great at making it. I don't really drink it. And so after he got fired, I was ready in business at that point, probably more than 1.5 years. I lasted a very short amount of time with him because I was his number one threat because he was an idiot. And I knew it. Perhaps he just suspected that I felt that way. It doesn't matter. He took my team. He took my trips. I was supposed to travel to Moscow. He went instead. I was supposed to travel to Argentina. He went instead. He took my trips, took my team. I was like, your team is my team. I was like, no, that's not how it works. I met him at a networking event 1.5 years later. So I'm already in business. Right. I already have a bit of a reputation because I know how to do this. And he meets me at an event. He's like, oh, hey, how are you? I'm like, good. But like deer in the headlights. Why are you even talking to me? You are the reason. Not like you ruined my life because he didn't. I'm so thrilled to have built what I've built and helped the thousands of people I've helped over these years. But at that point, I was still new. I was still hurting from having worked in this place for 6.5 years, given them everything, and then had to quit because of this guy. He's like, yes, I don't know if you heard, I left the other place. My coworkers told me you were fired, but whatever. I didn't say that. I left the other place and now I'm doing my own private practice. Do you have any referrals for me? I was like,
they're like, hell no.
You did not just ask me.
Oh, wow.
He was that clueless. He was just that clueless.
Oh my gosh.
He never really meant any harm to begin with. I don't know if I knew that when I was in it because it hurt so much.
Yeah.
Really just clueless to the point that he would ask me 1.5 years later to refer him clients. Like never. Because I think he's a toxic, clueless human, but no.
Right.
No problem asking.
I think that also falls into so many of the things we see with gender disparity in the workforce, right? And you talked about, he took your team, he treated you like a secretary, even though you were in the C-suite.
Basically told me I was his new secretary. He's like, I'll manage your team. I'm like, you don't have any clue what I even do. Right. You don't even know what.
Yeah, that toxic masculinity, where we also see that a lot of times men will go out for positions, even if they have a very small fraction of the knowledge. Women can have 80% of the skill set they need, right, to take a position, and they won't go for it because they don't feel like they have 100%. So that overbearing confidence.
That's on us just for not standing in our own power. And you take it so much farther. I had 3 kids at that time. Right. I now have 5. My ex-husband didn't have the same level of responsibility at home that I did, even though I was the primary breadwinner. And that was just the structure. And by the way, at the time, over the years, it became more of an issue. But at the time, I was like, this is just how it's supposed to be. This is what I was taught. I was taught that I'm supposed to do everything. Yeah. I'm supposed to run the house, take care of the children. We had a massively open home, guests almost every weekend. I was actually taught I'm supposed to earn all the money also because it was a religious thing. And don't forget to look beautiful and put on lipstick when your husband comes home to welcome him so you have a good marriage.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I didn't end up in like the mental ward.
You channeled all of that into helping others instead.
Right.
And having fantastic stories. Hopefully you're going to put them all in a book someday.
I have an anthology I'm working on.
Nice. Nice.
It's a box set. I'm up to volume 5.
But these are the stories we need to share and we need to tell. I left a 6-figure job because I got married, and my now ex-husband also traveled all the time for work. And I just thought, okay, I'm supposed to be the one who stays at home, and threw myself into volunteer work, which was fantastic. I gained a lot of skills, a lot of connections. But yeah, I mean, it took me out of the workforce. And then I was not a good stay-at-home mom. So I kept like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, like doing little businesses here and there, and feeling like a smug married, what I call it, right? Like you're like, I'm never going to get divorced. I don't need to know about all this stuff, even though everybody tells me I need to have my own money and I need to know everything that's going on with our finances. And in the end, it didn't serve me, because when we did get divorced, I got, wow, if I'd made certain concessions, it could have been a better situation. But I knew what I needed to do.
They give you everything.
Well, yeah, I was in Texas at the time and had a really solid prenup because I was a second wife, and just all those things.
Got it. But, yeah, then you're stuck. I hear that.
Yeah. But I was always interested in business, and kind of like you, like I always was trying out different entrepreneurial things. So that I just channeled my energy into that.
Love that.
And here we are. And now we get to meet and talk about this. And yeah, so you have your consulting firm, which works with small and medium-sized businesses.
Mostly small and micro, actually. Again, typically under 10 employees. I once had a client come like, we have 30 employees, but almost all of them are part-time. I'm like, you need even more help. Why do you have part-time employees? What are you doing?
Yeah.
So we can work with companies that have 30 part-time employees too. But usually under 20 employees, more often even under 10, getting people to their 6-7 figure profit zone, really at those base stages when people are trying to turn, I don't like to be woo-woo about it, but it's like, this is their soul calling. And it's not just that they're like a holistic practitioner or a coach. Sometimes their soul calling is to open a retail chain, but it's something that they're driven to do out of service. So it's primarily service-based businesses. We do have some brick and mortars. We do have some product, but I would say 85% are service.
Oh, nice.
And that's unusual.
And the fact that you also said a very specific word, you said 6 to 7 figure profit.
Yeah. I play profit numbers.
Yeah.
I play real money in your pocket numbers. I like revenue. Revenue's cute, but if you don't keep it,
right.
So what is that? Just so you sound cool, but you're still poor? Why is that fun? I don't think that's fun.
No.
When I meet someone who's like, I have an 8-figure business and I took home $65,000 last year. Yikes. And I'm like, why? Why would you give yourself such a headache of running an 8-figure business? Because that means you're running a lot. You're doing a lot of work for so little money. Depends on your country and your culture. But in the US, from 8 figures that the owner should take. I met someone who was really like this. This was a real client. We fixed it. I was like, what? No. My revenue is lower than yours, but my bottom line is way higher. And I do less work. My motto is more money, less headache. That's what I stand for.
Very, very nice motto.
Yeah. Profit. To me, that's what matters. It's not what matters. And I've worked with some startups, and our disagreement is always that in a startup, you just have to show that you'll be able to make money. You can burn as much money as you want if we think you'll make some in the future. I hate that. I hate waste. I believe in doing more for less, not more for more, not less for more, for sure. And I like proving concept by bringing in profit and growing from there, not just bringing in revenue, not just can you sell it and earn profit on it. Now can we grow from there?
Right.
That's my game.
What are some of the biggest challenges you had when you left your nonprofit job and started Strand Consulting?
Well, the first one was I actually tried what you tried is I tried to be a stay-at-home mom. I lasted 2.5 weeks. Because that is how long it took me to catch up on all the projects and all the organizing and all the errands that I hadn't had time for when I was working. And I was like, I will finally have time. I will greet my children with homemade cookies when they come home from school. I will be the amazing mom from the 1950s movies. And 2.5 weeks in, I'm like, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm so bored. So I started teaching for pay, hip hop, dance, exercise classes. I just started my own business. I rented a studio and I advertised by hanging up flyers and I started teaching classes. I didn't earn like crazy money, but I got to exercise for free and I earned some money on it. I don't do things that doesn't earn money. It's not fun. So I just was like, I'll do this. And I was like, I think I'd rather someone else teach the class. That won't be it. The hardest thing when I started was taking myself seriously before anyone else could. I knew I could help, right? I had this burnings. I knew I could help because I knew that I knew what I was doing. Mm-hmm. But I also knew that I did not know how to launch or run a consulting firm. I never worked for one. Mm-hmm. I've seen the model because the nonprofit that I worked for had hired one. And so they had come in, and I think for me, that was part of the genesis of the idea. The company had a low glass ceiling, so they hired this firm. This firm came in, because I also did the back end budgets, they got paid more than me, and they got listened to, and they were wrong.
Wow.
I was like, oh my gosh, I'm smarter. I've said a lot of the things they've said, but I've also said them right? But some of the stuff was a match, and some of the stuff, like, I was right, they were wrong, because they just missed certain things about how we operated. Probably because they didn't listen to the women. I'm not getting paid as much for my expertise that is the same as these people. And I'm not getting listened to. I'm not getting valued. I'm not able to contribute in the way that I genuinely can in the wrong line of work. So the only model for consultancy that I ever had was working for an organization that had hired one. That's all I'd ever seen of it. Yeah. That was all I knew of what it was. But that was enough for me to be like, I should be in that chair, not this chair. And the hardest thing in the beginning was I just had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know I had to take myself seriously to get other people to take me seriously. As a consultant, what does that mean? As a coach in 2011, what does that mean? Right, exactly. I remember one guy I met had like a grocery store. He's like, well, if you're so good at business, why don't you start one? I'm like, do businesses only have canned goods? Why don't you start one? My business is helping businesses. People didn't even understand. Yeah. There were so few of us in those days that in the small business world, the idea back then, which is different now, still broken, but different broken. Back then, it was like, you either have it or you don't. You either have it or you don't. And if you have it, you don't need help. And if you don't, you can't get help. You can't be helped. That was kind of the attitude in the olden days for small business. They were entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. Today, it's different. Today, everyone's an entrepreneur. Point, click, website. Ta-da! Shopify's got you. You don't have to know anything. We fixed it. And that's also wrong. Yeah. Those are wrong. That's so true. One of my businesses in Houston was I had a social club, which was a great little business. We didn't charge a lot for people to join, but it was a great way for people to make connections and get discounts to events and have people to sit with at a fashion show or a charity event or whatever. I love this. We did business. I want to join a social club. We had business meetings, but we also had charity stuff. We also just got together for fun. And then we ended up having a retail store. The part that I wasn't good at, I was good at getting the people together and coming up with the ideas, but the pricing model, I was not very good at. Of like, I didn't want to charge people too much. And I think it came out of that mentality of, well, coming from like, I used to have a lot of money, so I didn't have to worry about that kind of stuff. So I want to just do this as a service, but it's business. It's not doing something just to be nice. It's actually, right. That. And I think nicer when you're self-sustaining. Right. You're nicer when it rewards you and everyone in it. Yeah. This is part of what I teach in our pricing module on the business school and the online group programs, and also with our one-on-one clients, the consultancy. Pricing is a huge chunk of everything we do in marketing. The pricing actually also communicates the value of your offer. Mm-hmm. You can't just offer things at a discount or for free without it actually affecting the entire brand, really. Yeah. And I think it's not just me. I think a lot of women do the same thing. When we start out, we're like, oh, it's okay. We're just going to be nice. We just want everybody to like us. We want to make sure everybody feels welcome and invited into our space. It serves people for a little bit, but in the long run, like you're saying, it doesn't serve anybody for the long term. It certainly doesn't put food on the table for us, especially if you are. Nobody wins. You don't win. Your clients don't win. When you don't appropriately value your offer, services, or product, nobody wins. You can't continue, right? So if you have something that you're genuinely really offering people, you will run out of steam because you will run out of water to make the steam. You will run out. You will run dry, as we say, right? All these expressions, they all run together. And you are not doing the people that you're serving the right service if you are not valuing your offer correctly. Mm-hmm. You're going to get the wrong people.
Yeah.
Right. So your price needs to match your offer and who you're serving. And if you want to make a nonprofit, by all means, make a nonprofit. A nonprofit, the full term is a not-for-profit business.
Right.
That's the full term. A for-profit business and a not-for-profit business. And both of them have the same thing, activities and money. A business runs a set of activities in order to bring in money. A nonprofit brings in money in order to run a set of activities.
Yeah.
So you want to choose a salary, say you're good with 50,000 a year, 100,000 a year, 150, whatever it is. Great. That's how much you need to bring in to run this thing. You want to run a business like a nonprofit? Go ahead, but make it that.
Right.
Make it something that services people that can't otherwise afford it. Don't run a business for people who can afford it and then undercharge them so that they undervalue you.
Yeah.
And you have to value you first.
Exactly.
And this is what I see the most with talented entrepreneurs. I've got 5 categories of entrepreneurs. I've run this by a number of people, a lot of my mentors. One of them is like, Estie, that's the 5 categories of entrepreneurs. I'm like, very cute, but it's also the 5 categories of entrepreneurs. It's anyone who starts a business. All right. Category 1, I call the talented. And these people are exactly what it sounds like. They're talented, often creatives. They're just good at something. Maybe they're good at social clubs, at being social. They're good at cake decorating, home decorating, design. Pick a thing, right? They're talented at bookkeeping or numbers, organization, right? They become personal organizers. Massive. Now, that wasn't a thing. I was doing professional organizing, one of the early versions of my business. Yeah, I used to do that. My early clients, I would do everything for that. One of my clients, I was setting up, we did her marketing. I set up all of her back-end systems and databases, and she worked out of a home office. She's like, I bet you have a system for kids' clothing, don't you? I'm like, of course I do. She's like, can you do it? I'm like, I'm going to charge you the same rate. She's like, I don't care. It's like, I'm the same hourly rate to organize her kids' closet.
Wow.
In those days, I was like, why not? I'll do whatever you want. I got an hourly price. I'm yours. I'm mercenary. All my skills, all my talents. Here you go. Talented people. They're just good at things. They have the most imposter syndrome usually. Because they're just good at it. How do I charge for something I'm good at? I teach them. How do I charge for that? How do I know how much it's worth? We match it against the industry, the standards, the brand you're trying to build, blah, blah, blah. There's a system for this. You are not the first talented human trying to build a business. Shocker. I know. There's a way to do it. But the talented people have the biggest problem with imposter syndrome. Because they don't know what their thing is worth. And because it comes as a natural talent, and for some of them, it really is just a gift. They're like, how could I even charge for this? I'm just good at it. How do I even charge for it? Like, okay, I'll charge a little bit. Ooh, someone paid for it. Oh my gosh. Category 2, I call the employees. And typically white collar people who are working in healthcare, in the therapies, bookkeeping, accounting, any kind of number type thing. But usually there are people who have a degree or certification or just experience in something as an employee. And now they want to go and do it on their own because they realize that their boss is earning 3 times as much of them for every hour that they work or more. And they're like, why am I being bossed around or to do things I don't want to do? And that person is earning all the money on my back. And their problem is usually they don't know how to get clients. They know how to do the work. They even sometimes will have a pricing model because they've been employed and they know what's being charged for their services. They don't know how to get business. So that's usually where they get stuck. So each category of entrepreneur gets stuck somewhere. And part of my thing is like the unsticking of each one. Third category, I call the guides. These are your coaches, consultants, authors, and course creators. You can only say it like that. So you should just say coaches, consultants, authors. And now it's coaches, consultants, authors, and course creators. Course creators is like the new cool girls MLM. Oh my gosh, you're going to create an online course because you're so smart and you have things to sell. And then people are just going to buy it. It's going to be passive income. You're just going to like see money. What? No, no. Okay. Look at her. She has her laptop on the beach and she's telling us how she just got like $1,000 in her bank account. She is still taking a video of herself on the beach to tell you that. Do you not realize that that's what's happening? It's still happening.
You're being marketed to right now.
Oh my God, yeah. It hurts me. It hurts me. Anyways, so the guides are the group of people who want to guide. They want to help others. That's why they're coaches, consultants, authors. Sometimes they want to guide in things that they're already experienced in, right? So they come from a certain profession. They now want to help others. Or sometimes they've just got a skill or a talent that they then want to help other people with. Right. So they want to be a healthy eating coach. They don't necessarily ever worked as a nutritionist, but they want to guide people because of some life experience that they've been through, whether personal or professional, whether for themselves or a close loved one. That's typically a guide. And the guides get stuck because they just everything about business. Just want to help. How that turns into a business is someone that should figure out. They just want to help people. They just want to write books or guide or coach. Right. They need like the business model that surrounds that. They also need to narrow in because guides just want to help. They want to help everyone. Right. Everyone can benefit from this. Everyone can be more fit and eat better and think smarter and have a better relationship. And people who want to have a good marriage are my clients. And those are the guides. again, business mentality, frameworks, finding your audience, finding your niche, and they get very, just need a niche. Hey, got it. My niche is people who are overweight.
Well, yeah, that's still pretty wide. Yeah.
They're lovely.
I might be wrong, but I feel like that's the group that would be most susceptible to all of the different online stuff that we're barraged with. Even as a marketer myself, I'm always looking at like, what do I not know? Oh, I should sign up for this thing or that thing, or, people are telling me to do this. And I'm like, but that doesn't feel authentic to the way I'm going to run my business, or that I want to run my business, or just who I am. Right.
So I think so many people target that group, not just because they're susceptible to it, but because it's a group of people who desire to help and who really need the help in order to help. And they really are lacking that whole picture. And a lot of times they're people who are coming from another stable income. Right? So they're coming from something. So again, when you're talking about marketers, they're targeting a group of people who need this help, right? And some of them are genuine and some of them are morons, the marketers. They're selling marketing services. They're going to try to target someone who can afford them.
Right.
And a lot of these people are working another job or living another life, and this is their dream and their calling. And it's such an easy group because it's like a very broad but specific. We help coaches, consultants, authors, and course creators to launch, to serve those who you can help and leave a legacy. Now we're in legacy land. So it's such an quote unquote easy target, if you will. But it makes me mad because I get so many people on the other side of it, because a lot of those are the biggest promises, and that's what they fall for, because they come in clueless. They really come in clueless. And sometimes they come in clueless with a budget, and that is the worst place to be, clueless with a budget, because then anyone who knows that you are clueless with a budget will take all of your budget plus a little more to give you a clue. By the time you've got a clue, the clue that you've got is that person couldn't help you.
Yeah. This is just making me think. There's a specific group I'm in because I wanted to do a training on books, because I have a lot of people come to me who are like, want to write books. They want to be authors, part of what they're offering. Right. So I was like, okay, let me take this course so I can learn to make it big on Audible or on this platform or that platform. What is this process that these people are using? And I don't often have time to go through Facebook groups because I'm in like 5 million Facebook groups for all the different things. But I was going through and I was like, wow, there's so many people who were duped. Essentially, like they're in their 60s or 70s and they spent all this money trying to learn this course because they were like told this is a really easy way to make money. And then they're facing one barrier after another and after another after another. And it really wasn't the right decision for them. But they're sold a promise, just like what you're saying.
Yeah, they're sold a big promise. Yeah. And I find now, so we're still up to 3 out of 5 types of entrepreneurs. There are 4 types of marketers. I call them the Megs. You got to know who the Megs are. So we'll pause the entrepreneurs for a moment. We're going to go to the marketers. 4 types of marketers, Megs. M is morons, right? So they might not even be malicious. They're just clueless, right? They don't even know what they don't know. These are the people who are like, scrolling through TikTok and some woman's doing a dance and she's like, want to be a social media manager? $1,000 a month per client. 9 clients, that's $9,000. Follow me and click below and you will. And then they do. And they're like, now they're a social media manager on Upwork and they know nothing.
Right.
And they don't even know that they know nothing because someone else who knew very little told them that now they know stuff and this is how to do it. And all you need to do is post content for them. You can find pretty pictures, can't you? You can write words, can't you? Oh, of course I can. Great. Here you go. And the blind lead the blind and they're just morons. And it's sad. Then you have E, Megs, experts of industry. Marketing for chiropractors, marketing for photographers, marketing for authors, marketing for coaches, right? They pick an industry. Now this person is very almost exclusively someone who worked in that industry. I am a doctor and I figured out how to market doctor private practices. I am a chiropractor and I figured out how to market your chiropractic practice, and on and on and on. They have these crazy, amazing testimonials of people who were just like them, who came through their program and were doing so poorly and now they're doing so great. And the thing that they have figured out is they have found one path to success. But there is no one path. There are so many paths, right? My whole thing is that it's personal. We've never done the same strategy twice. And I've done hundreds, hundreds and hundreds. And we're probably getting close to thousands. I've never done the same one twice because every person is unique, every business, every industry. And when it's done right, it's different every time.
Yeah.
What they do is they put you through this process that worked for them. And it does work for some people. But those people are almost carbon copies of the person it worked for the first time. I had one guy who I explained this to. He's like, that's why everyone in that group I'm in with the guy who's 25, all the people who are successful are also like 25. I'm like, God. And he's like, 52, and he can't figure out why he's not successful when all the 25-year-olds are successful. Because it's a thing that was built by a 25-year-old, and the 25-year-olds who are just like him are just like him. Right? So same energy, similar target audience, same assets, abilities, and then it works. Those are your E's. G's are genius tacticians. I love genius tacticians. These are my favorite partners. These are my favorite people to work with, to hire, to recommend to. They know a tactic. They know Facebook ads or Facebook group marketing or how to get a book to the top charts on Audible or any one tactic that is a great piece of a strategy. When you have a full strategy and you need a one thing. But if you imagine that a strategy is a map to reach your goals, you're driving a car, you're trying to get to a destination, your tactic is the right turn. So many people just learn a tactic and they keep making right turns. Like, why am I going in circles? I don't know, because maybe all you learned was how to make a right turn. That's why. So it's a tactic. Sometimes you want to use it. Sometimes you need a left turn. Sometimes you need to stop. Like, there are different things to do. And these people are great. And they will also have these great testimonials of companies that did their tactic and it was fantastic. That's because they had all their other stuff lined up. All their stuff worked. So when they did sting, ping, it was the last nail in the house, but they built the rest of the house. You just bought the nail and the hammer and stuck it in a wall. It didn't do anything. It's a tactic. And then you have the S's like myself. And there are a few of us. It's like a pyramid. There's less and less as you go. And it's not to say one is better than the others. They're just less and they're different. I'm a strategist. How do you get a map to where you want to go? Where do you want to go? How are you traveling? Are you walking, biking, driving? What kind of car is it? Did you want to fly? That's a lot expensive. Private jet. Also more. We'll get there faster. Okay. How are we traveling? Where we want to go? Why do we want to go there? What do we want to do along the way? That's a strategy. Yeah. When you have a strategy, you actually can work with all the other three because you can hire a genius tactician. You can learn from an expert of industry what pieces you might want and what not to fit your strategy. You can even hire a moron and boss them around and make them to work for you. And they'll be cheaper because they're morons.
Amazing. So let's go back to number 4 and 5 for the type of entrepreneurs.
4 and 5 are the ones that I work with less, and I'll tell you why. I work primarily with the first 3 groups, and 4 and 5 I work with less because they are, I find, less interested in strategy and less interested in doing more with less. Group number 3 are the deal makers. Right? So these are your real estate agents, your insurance. These are agents in everything, right? These are your Amazon sellers sometimes, especially gray market sellers. They love the thrill of the deal. They're not really strategic. They just love making deals. They almost don't understand, right? They work in financial services, right? High-end stock trading. I have one guy, brilliant options trader, right? He and I talk all the time. I tell him marketing things. He tells me options things. When I try to explain to him strategy, he's like, but you just sell things. I'm like, no. He's like, so if we run enough ads, what should the ads say? I'm like, also no.
Yeah.
It's almost like it does not compute.
Right.
He's like, so really, I just need more phone calls with more people. I'm like, go ahead, have fun.
Yeah.
But that's their fun. The deal makers just love the thrill of the deal. They love every interaction. They love brokerage. This is what they love. I will typically work with a deal maker when they're trying to stabilize their business. They're done hustling. These are the hustler. It's the hustle culture. Hustle culture is not for everyone, but it is for some people. Right. And they love it. And let them love it. But that doesn't mean, and this is so much of what I see in marketing out there today, is that this is for everyone. No, it's not. By the way, even strategy is not for everyone. There are people who don't want to do it. Okay. My tagline is more money, less headaches. Once met someone, and I told you that's, essentially what I do. She's like, oh, well, I don't need more money and I don't mind headaches. I'm like, can't help you.
Wow.
I don't think there's anything that I can do that you want. And that's okay. Not my target.
Right.
So that's the deal makers. The deal makers get stuck because it's very hard for them to stabilize.
Yeah.
So deal makers can get to a level of scale where their stability just lies in the fact that they have such a high volume and turnover that even if they have like a couple dry months or even years, which doesn't usually happen because they just hustle, right? They're just always in it. They're fine. They get stuck if they want to stabilize it, or if they get tired of the hustle or unable to do it for some reason. They're like, oh, I have to work smarter, not harder. Help. That's where the deal makers usually get stuck. And then the last one I call the solutionizers. And solutionizers typically fall into startup bucket. They've got a solution to a problem. They've got an odor-free dog bed. They've got the latest dog walking app. They've got the latest solution. And they need investors. They need investors to believe in it and to pay them a lot of money to build their big idea.
Yeah.
And so usually solution managers also aren't interested in strategy per se. They're interested in investors. When they do it right, they have a strategy. That's what brings investors.
Right. Exactly.
But very often the solutionizer archetype is like, I have a big solution to a problem. When other people understand that mine is the solution to the problem, they will pay for it.
Yeah.
And again, I've had in my programs and as clients, some super cool solution managers. One was actually, it was like this organic dog bed. That's where I got that example. It was a real thing. It was super cool. It was a solution, but they were of a profit mentality.
Right.
They weren't of a, we need investors so that we can manufacture 15,000 on our first run and they cost $300 each and They were like, okay, how do we sell this to people? How does this work? How do we build a real business? So when people are like that, every bucket works. And that's what I typically find. And the solutionizers get stuck. One of two things. Either they don't have a real strategy and they haven't found someone that just takes a liking to them, or it's a bear economy, right? What a bull bear. It's the bear economy, right? It's the one that hibernates and then investment dries up and they're like, well, I guess that's just the economy. No, you can still run a business. Okay. They get stuck there and they can still build their dream, right? Crowdfunding is for people who actually have things that the crowd wants to buy.
Right. Yeah. And if they don't want to buy it, you'll know pretty quickly.
That's right. You go out to the crowd and they want to buy it and you can sell it for more than it costs you to make it. Yeah. That's a thing. That's important. I've dealt with that too. I've had people who are selling things for $10 and it costs them $12 to make. You can't do that. But Estie, when we hit scale, it will be better. Maybe not. How much money are you going to burn until then?
Yeah. Wow.
Is this your new nonprofit project that you want to donate to? And how much is your donation going to be?
Right.
Let's just decide right now. The other place that solutionizers get stuck is that sometimes they will get investment, but because they never had a sound strategy, even with the investment, they will bottom out. Like there was a company, I remember they went live in LA probably 5 years ago. And I remember seeing the billboards everywhere, billboards and postcards in the mailboxes. I observe the marketing all over because that's my thing. And I was like, alas, I could just tell. I could tell that it was missing the mark. I could tell that it was that campaign had to cost a few $1 million. Easy. We're talking Los Angeles, West Hollywood, billboards, full neighborhood campaigns. And they disappeared after about like 6-8 months. Yeah. Marketing, it was wrong. It was just wrong. It was bad, but someone paid a lot of money for that mistake.
Oh, I mean, I've seen startups get funding because they said they were going to use a specific marketing agency that a competitor used that cost $50,000 a month, work with them for 3 months, and all that money was just burned because the strategies that company came back with, that agency that they hired, had nothing to do with their business. They were so far off the mark. It's jaw-dropping, right?
Really. And it's knowing the difference between strategy and tactics.
Yeah.
Most agencies are tactical. Most agencies are not strategic. I've had a lot of marketers in my programs learning strategy. They're like, oh, now these are people who've been selling strategic guidance sometimes for years. Mm-hmm. And they learn like, oh, that's what strategy is. Yes, dear. Yeah. Welcome. This will help you help your clients so much more now.
They don't know. And I think that's one of the things I really love about our conversations and what you're doing is because you're bringing everything to the mix. And when I approach like marketing or PR, I do the same thing. It's like you come in and you say you want PR, but do you really need PR? Let's go back and assess where you're at first and see, do you have your brand? Do you know who you are? All those things that you talked about.
Right.
Like,
all these foundational pieces that will make PR. Yes, because PR is a tactic.
That will make marketing work. It has to be one tactic out of all of the other things that you're doing. You can't just put it out there. To your point about
what are you putting out to who? What's the messaging? What's the follow-up? How are you going to turn that media attention into money in your pocket? That's one of my classes I gave for somebody because it was a PR conference. And so my class was how do you turn media attention into actual money in your pocket? Can do that. Yeah.
And I think that's a dirty little secret too. Maybe not so secret, but a lot of people who are publicists strictly live in that land are like, well, no, we're not sales. You can't map back we're creating awareness. What we do doesn't equate to money. And I said, but I can show my clients after I get them a PR hit, what it's doing to their website traffic. Mm-hmm. I can pull that information. And then we have to make sure that they have everything on their website ready to go. Do they have the right calls to action? Can people find the information? Is it easy? Can people reach out to you? All those things. But these days you can't say that one thing isn't related to everything else when you're
they're all connected. Yeah. Business is not different than other things in your life. People ask me like, what's your best marketing strategy? It's like, that's like telling me I'm an expert baker. What's my best ingredient? I can tell you, but that won't make a good cake.
Exactly.
I can tell, I really like this flour. Have I now changed your baking forever?
So you have your small business consulting firm, and then you realized there was still a segment of the market that wasn't being served. So you created the Better Business School.
And that's for people who have lower budgets, starting out, more like business dreamers in their early stages, typically earning between $20,000 and $60,000 on their business. Some of them earning zero because they're just starting, more in the beginner phase, and needing the same level of help, needing the same level of strategy, and also really benefiting. Business School has a community. We have a business builder community that's associated with it. And having that community support really also helps them a lot. And they're able to then get the same high level information and guidance in a group format. All of our classes come with guidance. So there's no such thing as like, just learn a thing.
Right.
The goal is transformation, and all of the information is geared to small businesses, specifically in the service sector or in a product service, which means that your product is coming from a service place. You're not just trying to turn over widgets at the lowest price on Amazon. And even when you are, we just had a testimonial from one of our graduates, did the program 2 years ago, just reached out about a month ago. And her testimonial was like, Estie, when I started with you, our Amazon store was doing 90,000 a year. She said, we just did 500,000 more last year. So that was an Amazon store because I didn't teach her Amazon tricks, I taught her branding and marketing tricks and how to sell on and off Amazon by identifying her target and repositioning her product. That had nothing to do with Amazon ads. It had everything to do with marketing strategy.
Yeah, I was looking through some of your testimonials on your website, and that was my next question is, what case studies do you feel comfortable sharing? And
that's one of my favorites for right now because I just got it.
And have you ever had a client come to you and you had to talk to them about the fact that what they want to do for their business isn't really the right business for them?
Absolutely. It's the reason some people hire me, because I'm the only one that will tell them that it's a bad idea. They're like, but everyone else said it's a good idea. I'm like, I don't care. It's a bad idea. Here's why. And they're like, what do I do now? I had a guy, this is one of my clients, a year ago, maybe. Let's say he wanted to run programming for dyslexic adults. Let's say that's an extrapolation. And the way he was building it in comparison to what else was out there in the marketplace and what his market would be willing to pay for, like YouTube programming for dyslexic adults. I was like, number one, YouTube ads do not earn enough money for this to sustain itself, not even close. Okay. The way he was building it with the different things, there were so many nonprofits that were doing work in that arena that he would be competing with directly. And he was trying to do a paid service. I just looked at his thing. I was like, no, this is a no. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, this isn't going to make money. He's like, but if I get this and this, and if I get these investors, I get these investors. I was like, if you get the investors, they won't get their money back. That's what's going to happen. Watch. And I just modeled it for him. He's like, how do I do? So we rebuilt the model. I believe that every business dream can live. I just saw a great quote yesterday. I love it so much. I will tell it to you. Dreams are like stars. You may never touch them, but if you follow them, they will lead you to your destiny. Oh, isn't that beautiful? I didn't write it, but I love it. So I believe that every single business dream is valid and it can exist from the seed of it, from the genesis point. What is the thing you really want to do? So what he really wanted to do in terms of, it was an empowerment for people with learning disabilities, let's say.
Okay.
We can build a business around empowerment for people with learning disabilities that involves media, that involves all these things that's different than what you came out. Because you landed on something for a reason. The thing you landed on won't work, but your reason works. And your reason can then create something that will. So that's what I do.
Nice.
It's fun. Those are my most fun, actually. Those are my most fun. I had another one. This is actually a really good story. And she was just on the local news channel. She got media attention and it led to actual hits on her site because we built the whole thing right. And even how she got media attention without a publicist. Not to say publicists aren't valuable, but this was just like her whole positioning setup. And she pitched herself and she knew how to pitch herself for an opportunity, which was amazing. So she had this whole, like a monthly membership, right? We looked at the monthly membership. And her thing also, like, I looked at it, I was like, this monthly membership, it doesn't match. It doesn't line up. And she'd been struggling with it. She had a couple buyers. She had a whole bunch of, it was a physical thing. She was listing it on Amazon also, like Shopify, like online programs, like Amazon. You're like, I can sell things here. One of my students in our business school right now, actually, she's like, Estie, come on. I think most people just start businesses because they think something will make money. That is wrong. That is not why most people start business, not successful ones. Okay. I was like, oh, sell these widgets and it will make money. Let's try it. That is not how most successful businesses start. That is how some unsuccessful businesses start and fail, but it is definitely not how most successful. It's not how almost any successful businesses start, actually. Some successful businesses start by accident because someone's like, hey, that person has a problem. I bet I could solve it. I wonder if I can make money solving that problem. That will work. But not, here are widgets. I could sell them. It will be money. Who will buy them? That is not how it works.
No, it's not.
And so, we repositioned her entire product into a community offering. And we turned it into a nonprofit.
Nice.
And now she's getting already local media attention.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Very cool. So where do you see yourself going next? You have these 2 great companies running, you're running cohorts, bringing together small businesses.
So what's next is actually it looks like this. I have a business plan. It's on paper. I have it on the computer also, but I like the paper because I think with the pen in my hand and it sits in front of me all day, every day. And I know exactly what it looks like. What's next is growing on both ends. So we kind of have what's in the middle, right? So we have the consultancy and we have the business school, and then adding on the 2 end pieces. So we have certification coming.
Nice.
To become a STAR certified marketing consultant, because I'm loud, I'm tall, I got big hair, but I'm not loud enough or tall enough to reach all the people I want to reach to help them get real marketing strategy. And I also am maxed. I cannot work with all of them. And so helping other marketers and coaches get certified in real strategy so that they can then go out and either build a business or add on like a multiple 6-figure revenue stream to their existing business. That's on the top end. And then on the low end, we have launched our business builder community. And so that allows people to come in at a much lower price point, even than the business school, get access to community, get access to those beginner materials, people who are at the very beginning. Maybe they've already spent their life savings on something that didn't work. And now they're just trying to start up again. And maybe they really don't have the money to really low end for people just to get their feet wet, start getting some education and support and guidance to start growing and living their dream.
Wow. Awesome. Can't wait to see those come out. So what is one final piece of advice you'd give to the new entrepreneur who's just formulating their idea, trying to figure out what they're going to do and needs to know where to start?
Focus on solving someone's problem and be discerning with any help you're going to get. Now that you know, after listening to this episode, what the megs are, when you are being pitched by any marketer or come across any marketing service, figure out which one of the megs they are and figure out if you're ready for which one, right? So if you find an expert of industry, and you feel that you're an exact match to that person, same audience, same assets, similar personality, go for it. You'll probably be one of their best testimonials. But if you're not, either don't do it or go into it knowing that you will have to modify whatever they're teaching you to apply to you. So just be discerning, go in with your eyes open and your brain on, right? Not everyone is selling snake oil, but not everyone even knows what they're selling.
Right.
And so on your own, focus on solving someone's problem. How can I solve their problem? What makes sense to get paid for it? Next, how do I solve this one's problem? What should I get paid for it? Next, how do I solve this one's problem? Just start there and money will start coming before you ever have to pay for advertising. Amazing.
Where do people find you on social media, and what's the best website to direct people to?
Sure. So I would like to give you a present. If you go to estiestarr.com/free gift, so ESTIESTARR.com/free gift, FREEGIFT, estiestarr.com/free gift, you will find at this moment in time a 3-day marketing success challenge. It's a paid program. It's temporarily open for free. When we remove it, there'll be something else there. So you can always use this link whenever you're hearing this episode, and there will be something cool at estiestarr.com/free gift. But at this moment, you will get access to our 3-day marketing success challenge, which is, I think, like $300 or something normally. We'll like temporarily put different things there just for fun to mix it up.
Yeah, that is fun.
I think so.
Yeah. Awesome. And then do you have a favorite quote or mantra or words that you like to live by?
I'll tell you my all-time favorite, because it is my all-time favorite and it never gets old for me. It is a Helen Keller quote, and it is, keep your face to the sunshine and you will never see the shadows.
Oh.
Eyeball deep in shadow work, as they call it, for a couple of years. So I also think that quote is funny, because just because you can't see the shadows doesn't mean they're not there. Every once in a while, you might want to deal with them, because they will. It's like you keep your face in the sunshine, but you're standing in a pile of poo. It will smell.
Yeah.
It will be bright. So you might want to clean that up. But the idea of just always having a positive focus, right? Always looking for what is bright, what does work, what is good about whatever is happening. And that will always take you to the best possible outcomes.
Yeah. Nice. Well, thank you, Estie. I've learned a lot from our conversation. I love the buckets that you put entrepreneurs and marketers into. I'm going to go back and take notes so that when I'm coming across people, I can also think through, okay, I know what kind of marketer I am, but what kind of marketer are you?
Are you an MEG or S?
Yeah. So
not to take anyone down, right? The M's can become G's. They can even become S's if they're willing to learn.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, this has been a really amazing conversation. And of course, I'll have everything listed in the show notes for everybody to find you and learn more about what's coming next or how to work with you. So Estie, thank you so much. And to our audience, thank you for coming back for another episode of Your Brand Amplified. And I'll be back again in a few days with another delightful conversation. Until then, have a great day. Want more? Check out amplifywithannika.com or follow me on socials at amplifywithannika.